So here we have Timberlands, and I'm going to be talking about the actual leather on these Timberlands and why the common sense thing that says maybe I should put a leather preservative on my boots, because common sense says if I put a leather preservative on the outside, I'll maintain the actual leather. This is a lightly used leather boot right here, meaning that I can take a microfiber cloth with almost no water or no water at all, and then just kind of wipe this through, go ahead and clean this off, and then put a leather preservative on the top of this, and also use a blow dryer or a heat gun. They're both the same, but for you guys that are manly men, we don't have blow dryers, we have heat guns. So for you guys that have a heat gun, you definitely put your leather preservative on top of this and you're ready to go. Light, medium, and heavy use boot. So this would be a medium use boot. I do have leather preservative already on there, but if it was to get dirtier, I would kind of clean it off, maybe go off with a toothbrush, water, and then let it dry. Once it's fully dry, I add the leather preservative onto it and let it sit, use my heat gun, and make sure it does its function, its little chemical reaction with the leather, and then it looks like brand new. This is a heavy use boot. When I go about this boot here, I definitely want to clean this off. I definitely want to use maybe some soap to try to help me take as much of the mud, dirt, and buildup that's already on this piece of leather here. This is really beat up. It's got almost no leather. It actually has no leather preservative. It's completely wiped off. It's almost down to the bare. It's almost scratched off most of the leather. If not, like if it does, it's not full of actual gouges. Just rips all the way across on the top seam of the leather. It's in pretty bad condition. Definitely want to clean this as much as possible. Let it dry for a day or two, and then add a leather preservative to it. And then use my heat gun and try to cook that leather preservative to the actual leather itself. One of the leather preservatives, I use the OBENAUF'S, and this is a heavy duty leather preservative. It's made in the US, comes in these little 4-ounce cans, which I really like. I like the way that it is almost like this, almost really thick, and you have to like continuously go back and forth until you melt some off before it breaks off into the actual boot itself. And even then, when it's on the boot, it's really sticky and kind of gooey. So you need the actual heat gun so you can bake that and cook it into the actual leather. Now, I like this a lot because it really works on my boots. It maintained them. I really use these Timberlands a lot. I have some really old ones, old Timberlands that I had for almost 8 years, and this is what I've been using for a really long time. It's countless years. I don't know how many years I've been using this, and it's just a really good product overall. But you need to know your boots first. Is your boot lightly used, medium, or heavy duty? Now, if it's really beat up like this, you need to put a lot more work than what you would do with a lightly used boot. Same goes for this. Less work as far as cleaning the exterior of the actual leather, and then put your leather preservative. And then as you go further down the line, medium and heavy use, you have to put more work into cleaning this to get as much mud and some of the buildup dirt that's inside of this already. And this might actually be a compromised boot. You might have some buildup of water on the inside of the seams and a whole bunch of other stuff. But we can definitely start by cleaning the outside, make sure that it's completely dry, and then we add the leather preservative to maintain the leather looking as nice, crisp, and clean, and make sure that this is going to last us for many, many more years to come. Now, that's just you knowing your type of boot. Are you lightly using it, or are you heavy using it? Are you kind of using it, but you have other boots, so you alternate, so it's medium use to that boot? So if it's medium use or lightly use, it's going to be a lot easier for you to clean these off and then add the preservative, and it's going to carry on. And hopefully it's not compromised in other forms. Maybe it could have leaks in between the seams. Some of the stitching can fall off. These eyelets can fall off. Things break in between here and there. But one of the things you can maintain is the actual leather itself, keeping your feet dry for years to come. These are really good boots. I do have a few of them, as you can see, and I use all of them depending on the jobs that I do. I always alternate my boots. I have the better looking one. I have the most used one. And then I have one that's just completely beat up that I had for years and years on end. But I do alternate this. If I had all three of these in the job site, if I'm traveling, I would use this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Continue alternating just like so. Alternate them to make them last as long as possible. But I also have to maintain them, the actual leather quality. That's just a little bit of information as far as your actual boots themselves. Now you know your leather, and you also know how to maintain them. This is your Obenauf heavy duty leather preservative, and hopefully this was useful and you can maintain your boots. I'm gonna have multiple videos of this just because light used boots, medium used boots, and heavy use have different ways of like applying the leather preservative.